All right, so David Hogg versus James Carville. Now, look, I don't know if David Hogg is going to be the vice chair for the DNC anytime soon, because when you start going after, the incumbents, the big party players, there's a reason why they're incumbents in the first place. It's because they're good at following the orders of not doing anything. I mean, that's how the Democrats operate. They do that all the time, every time, as we have seen, So let's go ahead and play this up here. David Hogg versus James Carville, right? So let's look at this. It's a wonderful argument, an argument for the whole family.
Let me be very specific. I think it is abominable that an official of a political party who is being paid or supported by that political party to go out and raise money to defeat members of the same party. I think that's a jackassery of the highest level.
James, can you tell me
if you want to beat Republicans, of which of course lefties never do, they never even run against them. That's one thing. I'm not into beating Democrats. I'm into beating Republicans.
James, I would say, first of all, I am not paid to be a vice chair. The vice chair role is not a paid role at all. Okay. It's a volunteer role. What I would also say to that is that I think it's possible for us to do two things at once.
I don't think other Democrats are the problem we have in the United States today. I think it's Republicans, and I think all of our efforts and all of our force should be going to elect Republicans.
James, I
can't make it any simpler than that.
There is a real danger, though. You just talked about how those Medicaid cuts were terrible, obviously. Those were enabled by two of our members literally passing away, unfortunately. Right there, that is a real problem that we have to deal with.
Y'all always remind me that I'm close to the day, too. Every time you say something, you remind people, let me get this right. You are still planning on raising money to primary other Democrats. That's your plan.
We're doing both, James.
Let me finish, and then you answer. You're going to raise $20 million to primary yet unspecified Democrats. I think that's an abomination.
Some of the money is going to be used to challenge Democrats that we feel like are failing to meet the moment. However, a lot of it is going to be used to spend money in critical state legislative races that are critical to breaking majorities and also in open primaries in those state legislative seats. It's not only going to challenge people that are Democrats, to be clear. There have been vice chairs previously who had done exactly what I'm doing now, where they supported people in primaries while they were vice chairs of the DNC while they were out there. And part of the reason that is not a conflict of interest is because there isn't information that we have access to that could sway these elections in any serious way. What the DNC has rollover is specifically the presidential election. And in our bylaws, it does say you cannot be involved in the primary process. And I completely agree with that. Completely. I do not want to repeat a 2016 here. But the fact of the matter is, James, there have been vice chairs previously who have done very similar things.
I don't understand. You're not going to raise money to run against Democrats, or you are going to raise money to run against Democrats?
We're going
to do that.
We're raising money.
We're going to do that.
Democrats.
That is an abomination.
James, you have to understand the nuance here.
There's no nuance to it. It's just flat out wrong. It's flat out wrong to use money that could be used to beat up.
Here's the deal, James. What is your plan to deal with our abominable approval rating?
Win elections. You see.
You can't win elections if you don't have a plan. And here's where I'm agreeing with David Hogg. Because, see, the Democrats don't have an identity, okay? The Democrats don't have an identity, and in turn, by not having an identity, by not doing this, Jesus, these stupid Democrats. By not having an identity, you're not inspiring people to turn out and support you and vote for you and fight for your cause. If you lack the support, why are people going to follow you? If you lack the support, why are you not going to, change yourself and your identity? You can say win elections, but if you can't win elections, then guess what? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, because how are you going to prove people that you are a viable candidate? How are you going to prove to people that you're a viable party? Win elections. What are you going to win on? What are you fighting on? Democrats, when you had the supermajority in the House and Senate under Obama, there's so much you could have done, but you chose not to.
Against Republicans. Let me finish, okay? Let me finish. You are my strategy. It is to win elections. It's not to win an election in Queens, okay, which you don't ever run against a Republican. It is to help Democrats win elections.
David, you've said a bunch of times that you don't want a repeat of 2016. Like, how do you see this moment as being a repeat of 2016?
No, I was saying that in the context specifically of why I wouldn't be involved in the presidential primary, because I agree that DNC officers, as members of the committee that have oversight over the primary, over a ton of things related to the presidential campaign should not be involved in the presidential primary. And that is in our bylaws in the first place. The point that I'm making is that if James is so upset about what I'm doing here, where was he when other vice chairs were doing very similar things being involved? If this is clear, James.
Name you one vice chair of the DNC in his entire history other than you, David. To be honest with you, and I never saw any of them publicly say it. Again, if I would have seen it, I would have said something. I promise you. This is not directed at you. It's directed at the general principle of an official of a political party spending time raising money to beat other members of that political party. That is a specific.
The only thing I would say, James, is in David's defense, like I actually ran this whole idea of what David is doing by my father, who's a boomer, and he, you know, I said to him, "What do you think about this?" And like in his mind, he was thinking, "Well, I think the Democratic Party needs to clear out. Like they need to clean house."
Right.
And how else do you clean house? You can't force people.
You can clean house without having officials of the party raising money to beat other Democrats. Anybody can run for anything they want. Okay, that's not the question. The question is specifically, as a official and as a fiduciary duty to the party that you represent, should you be raising money to run against people of that party? And again, this is not even an ethical close call to me. I don't care if you run for what you want. All right, if they think that the problem is some older Democrat in a +2R district, I got news for you. That's not our problem. Our problem.
What about the fact that all these older Democrats are hanging on to their seats?
You can argue that all you want. I'm not arguing that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I'm saying one specific thing. Don't try to make this an argument into something else. Whether or not some incumbent that's been there 20 years should remain.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna stop here because you hear this guy yell and scream as much as you want. You got me agreeing with Dave Carville. I'm not Dave Carville. David Hogg. And watch, maybe someday down the road, maybe David Hogg becomes the next Carville or something like that, in my opinion. Again, if you're with the Democrat Party, it's only a matter of time before you get corrupted. Look what happened to the Justice Democrats' brand new Congress, Our Revolution, DSA, and anybody else that ran under their brands. They quickly decided to goose step and fall in line with the DNC establishment. The Democrats don't have a brand. The Democrats don't have a plan. Okay? They don't have a brand. They don't have a plan. They got nothing. It's nothing but laid out failures and nothing but epic disasters through and through throughout the entire test of time. And again, with the entire party being what they are, since they have nothing to offer, David Hogg is coming up with a rational solution, and that is getting rid of incumbents. As somebody who lives in a city where you have politicians being in power for 20 plus years, and that's a very real thing, from aldermanic politicians, mayors, to even House representatives, okay? Illinois, as a state, has had the longest serving House representative for years, and he only ended his tenure a couple of years ago. But that's something. We have dynastic politicians, okay? And the thing is, when you have the same person over and over again, the party becomes stagnant. No new ideas, no new challenges, no new opportunities. And by the lack of opportunities, you have a party that can get corrupted. Ever since Ronald Reagan got into office, my goodness, have both the Democrats and Republicans embraced Wall Street big banks. And the thing is, when the Democrats had a chance in 2008, and it was a real chance, a big window of opportunity to bring in real change, Obama said no. The Democrats had the House and Senate. They did nothing. And even when they did have the numbers, even afterwards, still doing nothing. Oh, you got to vote harder. You got to vote harder. You have to vote harder. By not offering anything, Democrats, by not doing anything, Democrats, you're in this identity crisis. And so you have a couple attempts trying to reform the party. You have AOC and Bernie Sanders Fight the Oligarchy tour, which is nothing but a hopium copium tour. Oh, wait. Then you also have, how could I even forget? You have Cenk Uygur's Revolutionary or Rebellion PAC, and then you have David Hogg. What I would say to David Hogg is, look, you're vice chair of the DNC. Congratulations. Wonderful attempt, but they're going to kick you out. You think they want you to change things or bring the ruckus? That's not how the party operates. And if you think it is, you haven't been paying attention.